Speakpipe.com, viewer voice messages. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to it. Another episode where you drive the show, where you tell me, hey, this is what we're talking about. And I sit back and I oblige. Let's start it off. Cool Sports Rhymes Guy is the name of this hombre right here. Cool Sports Rhymes Guy. Is this going to be a rap? Is it going to be a rhyme, spoken word poetry? We'll find out.
It's the Cool Sports Rhymes Guy. Hello, Mr. James Skrmetta. No other podcaster does it better.
True. That's a rhyme. One. We're on one rhyme so far.
Two things that I want to talk about. First thing is, I don't understand our fans that are divided between Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shough. It's almost like they are Spencer Rattler fans before they are Saints fans, or like they're Tyler Shough fans before they're Saints fans, and that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
Whoever the quarterback is, we need to root for whoever the quarterback is. To me, that kind of makes them bad fans if they are rooting for Tyler Shough to fail or rooting for Spencer Rattler to fail.
It is. I mean, it really is interesting because as of right now, you know, it's a fifth round guy in Spencer Rattler and then the 40th overall pick in Tyler Shough. It's not like it's just it is kind of crazy. I mean, it's almost like if there would be a divide between Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Where it's like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, flip a coin. I don't like. Does it matter who's playing at the beginning? Does it matter? Like, I don't know. I do think it's interesting. I mean, because it is like, I mean, I see hundreds of comments a day, and then you just look at the rest of Twitter, and then you look at like Reddit and stuff, but it is crazy how polarizing it is. I mean, you have like big time loyalty on both sides, real loyalty on both sides of the aisle, which is given the situation, it's kind of nuts.
We should want both of them to succeed. I want both of them to succeed because if they succeed, then that means our team is having success.
Yeah.
Why would you want any of them to fail? Because if they fail, then that means our team is losing. I had hopes that Spencer Rattler could be our Jaden Daniels or that Tyler Shough could be our Jared Goff, but faster. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sure. If Spencer Rattler's playing, I hope he's the best version. If Tyler Shuck's playing, I hope he's the best version. If neither one of them works out, then I hope the next guy is the best. It is what it is. I thought same with Carr. Like, you know, I hope Carr when Carr was playing, I hope the team wins. I hope everything's fine. You know, when Andy Dalton and Jameis Winston were playing, and I hope they're good too. But it wasn't. You know, it wasn't like I'm riding or dying with Andy Dalton, or I'm riding or dying with Jameis Winston, or I'm riding or dying with whoever versus whoever. Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of next man up. It's kind of like that with every position. That's kind of how I look at it. You know, every position, it's like, look, if Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed are out there, I hope they do well. If Rashid Shaheed just got traded, so now it's like, all right, well, if it's Chris Olave and Donovan Bailey, next man up. You know, no hard feelings either way. But yeah, I mean, I just kind of root for, and that's as a fan. As far as like a content creator, and I know some other people on their channels have mentioned this, but the best thing for me is if the team is good. I don't care how we get there. You know what I mean? Like, the team just needs to be good. It needs to be relevant. If we get there with Jake Haener, we get there with Jake Haener. If Hunter Deckers brings this team to relevancy, cool. Sounds good to me.
And then also, the second thing I wanted to talk about was, since our team is so deprived of talent and we have so many issues, I don't think we should draft a quarterback with our first pick in the next draft. Because I believe that whoever our quarterback is, will probably be a losing team and probably still wouldn't be playoff contenders anyway. I think even if Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson was our quarterback, I think we'd still be a losing team and not make the playoffs anyway.
So I talked about this in the previous video, but there's an old saying where it's like, well, you're not a quarterback away. Well, you're definitely not a defensive end away, right? And if you had a draft and you knew, like, let's just say this draft, you're going into it with the first overall pick, and you know Lamar Jackson's in there and Myles Garrett's in there, you're definitely taking Lamar Jackson, right? If Joe Burrow's in there and Micah Parsons in there, you're taking Joe Burrow because he plays quarterback. And yeah, you're not a quarterback away, but you need one eventually. You're not a defensive end away. You're not a wide receiver away. If Justin Jefferson and Patrick Mahomes are in there, you're taking Mahomes, right? So it's less about, for me at least, it's less about like, it's just who's the best player available. What's the highest value? Like put it on like a numerical system. Grade it out. Who's the highest graded player? Who's the highest graded player in your draft board? How high is that number? That's probably who you should take. Unless it's a position like, like center or something. You're not going to take them top 5. But yeah, if you have Fernando Mendoza at the highest graded player, take him. If he's higher graded than who Ruben Bain, take Mendoza. If that's who you like, but it's all about nailing the pick. It's less about forcing a position or waiting on a position or the order of the whatever. It's more about just hitting the picks. So that's kind of how I look at it. I think this quarterback class is relatively weak, certainly compared to how it seemed to be. It seemed to be like the whole top 10 could be quarterbacks. At one point, Carson Beck was first overall, Arch Manning was first overall, Drew Rattler was first overall, Garrett Nussmeier was first overall, and now none of those guys are even in the first round. So but there's a lot of college football to be played. So
my thing is, I think we should trade that first pick and try to get more draft picks with that next draft instead of drafting a quarterback, especially since none of these quarterbacks that are in college right now are really impressing, are doing big things, or seem like they are a can't miss type of quarterback. And I think we should just take the strategy of drafting the best player available with those picks that we get. So I think that should be our strategy, is not to pick a quarterback, but trade that first pick back and get more picks. And
yeah, I'm always for trading down. It just, you got to have someone who's willing to trade up. But if you're sitting at 1, like let's say you're sitting at 1, right? And let's say the order goes Saints 1, Jets 2, Titans 3, Dolphins 4. Okay. Well, the Titans aren't taking a quarterback. So if you trade down to one of the quarterback needy teams and you trade behind the Titans, they now have basically your first overall pick. Because if you don't want a quarterback and they don't want a quarterback, whatever. Now, if it goes to a situation where you can get it to where like the top 3 teams all take quarterbacks, then you can trade down to 4 and get probably the best player on your board, right? Because if you don't want a quarterback, and you get a ton of capital. But you got to have the team that wants to do that. You got to find the team that's willing to trade up. But trading down is always, I think, the way to go. Unless you have like a can't miss generational guy. And even then, it's probably worth it to trade down.
Take the strategy of drafting the first or the best player available with those picks, because we need so much. We're so deprived of talent. So what are your thoughts on that? But anyway, I always enjoy listening to your show, your podcast.
Thank you.
And keep up the good work.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. Great call. That was a great call. Good stuff. All right. Shrey, you're up next.
What's up, Face of Franchise?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Out there doing it. Saints, YouTuber, not even close. Been rocking with you for a while.
On a whole different level.
Let's talk about Kellen Moore.
Well, let's talk about it.
This is post the Rams game.
Go ahead.
Morning after.
The morning after the day before.
Much from this game. I expected Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Matthew Stafford, the whole crew, Tyrell Williams, even Corum. I expected them to have their way with us. And they did.
Blake Corum, college, pop quiz. This is easy, guys. Michigan.
And I'm seeing Kellen get a lot of flack after this game for the 4th down play calling, and they're like, oh, he's just terrible. Now it's just, now Kellen's all of a sudden, he's just terrible now. Can't call plays. But, yeah, we're struggling on 4th and shorts and coming out.
The Taysom, if that's the play you're referencing, the 4th down Taysom play, I saw a video review of that, and I got a lot of questions about that play. Because Juwan Johnson gets obliterated immediately. But it's also like, why is Juwan Johnson even blocking? Why is he even in the game doing that? So it's one of those things where, like, the play call, you can look at the play call and be like, okay, I don't like the play call. But really, it's the execution of the personnel usage that's the question. Because I think Jack Stoll goes to the slot. It's like, well, why is Stoll not in blocking and Juwan's in the slot? I don't mind going for it. I don't mind using Taysom there. But the usage is interesting.
Like, but I still have faith. I think it's a little, knee-jerk reaction. It looks bad. It was terrible to start, but I don't know what everybody expected.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the knee-jerk reaction part, because it's like, we all know this is going to be bad. And then when it's bad, to then say, well, we should start firing people. It's like, wait a minute, we knew it was going to be bad. Why? Well, hold on a second. Now, that's not to say that there shouldn't be questions asked, because there absolutely should be questions asked. Right now, like, going 4-3 and outs out of your first 5 possessions, I need to know what's going on. The 14 or 15.3 points a game, I need to know what's going on. The inability to run the football, I need to know what's going on. So it's okay to ask questions, but you can't already be like, let's just fire people. It's more about, all right, here are the problems. I have questions about those problems. Can you fix those problems?
Went kind of how I thought it would. The 3 and outs, like, it was terrible. Yeah.
Yeah, awful.
But I feel like him being a rookie head coach, like, we were expecting growing pains. We were expecting these rough stretches, like, where we should have been as fans.
Yes.
And now to give up, everybody wants to give up on him because of a bad play call, or because he threw a desperation challenge flag, probably just in the moment out of emotion, and didn't get it, didn't look at the Jumbotron. He said, like, he's going to learn from that type of stuff.
Yeah, he 100%. And a good point by you is that there are going to be growing pains with the team, but also with Kellen. But just like with the team, just like when Tyler Shough throws an interception, we say, okay, hopefully he'll take a step, learn from it. He's a rookie quarterback. You expect the turnovers, right? You expect boneheaded plays. You expect mistakes, whatever. That also kind of has to be said for Kellen to a certain extent. You do kind of have to say he's going to make some mistakes, and it's up for him to learn. We talked about Dan Campbell this week, his first season. Dan Campbell was calling offensive plays his first season as head coach of the Lions. He learned very quickly, I probably shouldn't be doing this. And then he hired a guy named Ben Johnson. Now, if he would have said, I'm going to call offensive plays, he'd probably already be fired by now. And who knows what would have happened to the Lions, right? So it's more about the coach has to figure out what's working, what's not working, and how do they fix it, just like a quarterback would figure out, just like a running back would figure out, just like how a wide receiver would figure out, or whatever.
Like, I have a feeling he'll learn how to convert us 4th down, like 4th and short, stuff like that.
Yeah, I hope so.
But yeah, it's just crazy, like the boogeyman, like you said, reaction that people get. Like, I saw somebody say, we need to fire the whole coaching staff in the front office this year.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like the whole coaching staff is new. Like, we're gonna do that? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's not the answer. I mean, I understand the frustration, but 100%, like, that's not the answer. I mean, I keep using the same kind of like metaphors with like the restaurants and stuff. Like, if you fired everyone from a restaurant, got rid of your suppliers, you brought in a new staff, new cooks, new ingredients, new suppliers, new menu, new whatever, that's going to take a minute to work. It's going to take a minute for the new cooks to work with the new ingredients, to work with the new menu. It's going to take a second for the new branding and all that stuff to catch on. It's going to take a second for new customers to become like all that stuff takes a second. But after the first week, to be like, all right, fire the new cooks. This isn't working. I was like, well, hold on a second. We just fired the old cooks. These new cooks only been here for a week. We can't fire them now. We're just going to bring in we're just going to do the same thing over and over again. So yeah, that's just not it.
And then we're gonna like have to put in a new system, both sides. Like, no, makes no sense. That's what sorry teams do. Like, sorry,
Yeah.
organizations.
Correct.
And like, I think everybody should have been expecting Kellen Moore to have these growing pains. Like, he can definitely learn from these losses. Like, I was looking at Kyle Shanahan's first year.
Yeah.
Started out 0-9. I wonder what people were saying about them when they like lost. They lost by 22 and or like 24, and then they lost by 30.
Yeah.
Like back to back weeks. Just not competitive games. Started off 0-9. I wonder what they were saying about him now. I'm not saying Kellen Moore is going to be Kyle Shanahan, but I think we need to. Everybody, just as fans, just needs to calm down and see if he can learn from his mistakes and get better at what we're bad at right now. Like, and it's not like we've just got a cupcake schedule to start the season. It's been tough. Like, we've had every team we've played at is a playoff team, other than or fringe playoff team, the Bears, other than the Panthers or not Panthers,
The
other
Giants.
than the Cardinals
Yeah. The Cardinals.
and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Giants. And the Cardinals, like, they were even healthy, like when they
Yeah. They had. I mean, yeah. It's an injured. I mean, it's a totally different situation there. But yeah.
played us because it was week 1. But anyways, it like let's see how we look against the Jets and the Titans and the Falcons and the Panthers, Dolphins. Like, let's wait. Let's wait. See how we do against them, and then everybody, then not even jump to conclusions. Then let's just see. Let's just. I think everybody just need to calm down and let's just see.
I agree. I mean, you made a lot of really good points there. Agree 100%. I like, and people get this mixed up. They every time I say this, they're always like, "You're making excuses for Kellen Moore." It's like, I'm saying he should be questioned on this stuff. I'm saying this stuff is not good, but I'm also saying the answer is not to fire him. The answer is, here are the problems. Here's what's not working. Okay, now fix it, and then see if he can fix it. If he can't, then okay, whatever. Then we go on, go in that direction. But there has to be an opportunity for him to right the wrong, whether it's his wrong or just like a layover where, okay, the roster's not good or the personnel or whatever, but yeah, I agree. Like, just pointing to firing everybody and selling the team and like that's not the way to go. Just like it wouldn't be the way to go for the Giants after Jackson Dart turned the ball over 5 times against the Saints to be like, all right, Jackson Dart's a bust. I've seen enough. Dart's a bust. It's over. I was like, well, hold on a second. It's been 3 games. Like, that would be insane. But because it's a player and a coach, people look at it a little differently. All right, Divine Eternity, you are up next.
What's up, James? I'm recording this a
What's
day
up, man?
after the Rams game. Another
Monday.
ugly loss, 34-10.
Ugly.
Um, honestly, as bad as they played, I'm really shocked that we even got 10, but it
Yeah,
is
true.
what it is.
Yeah.
I feel like if the Saints continue to go at the rate that they've been going, which is like pretty much little to no offense,
Yeah.
I mean, it could get real ugly. Like as it stands right now, I wouldn't be shocked if you told me we end this season 1-16, which
If we still had some really tough teams, like, and no cupcakes, I don't mean cupcakes for the Saints, like cupcakes as far as like just relative to the NFL, I'd probably agree with you. Because right now, it's like, how the hell are we going to beat a competent team? But we do have really bad teams ahead of us. Or, I mean, in the same boat that we're in. Not saying we're not a bad team, but so we'll see what happens there. But yeah, the way they're playing, like, I mean, it's been horrible. Some of those really bad teams still had good moments. We have yet to have a good moment offensively.
is ridiculous and crazy to think about. But I mean, we're playing like we're not gonna beat nobody. Just scoring under
Yeah.
15 points a game.
Yeah.
They need to pick up the pace and quick, because I think teams like the Titans, teams like the Jets, um, all of these so-called bad teams, I don't think none of those teams are scared of the Saints right now. Like,
Hell
we're
no.
not showing that we're capable of anything.
But I mean, even like the Jets, how bad the Jets are. They have still had moments where they've scored 30 plus points. They've still had moments where they've done things. We haven't had not a single moment offensively to where you can point to it and be like, okay, that's the peak.
Safe to say, since Rattler took his exit, the Saints haven't really been the same on offense. Even though the fall off started with Rattler, in my personal opinion, I think his fall off, if I had to diagnose it, I would say the pressure of facing Dennis Allen, his ex former coach, and Caleb Williams, the guy who supposedly ran him out of Oklahoma allegedly. I think that pressure actually got to him, and I was in denial about that being. I thought that wasn't gonna bother Rattler, but and to me, that's the ultimate factor of why he's in the position he's in now. I mean, when the season first started, man, he was playing confident. He was calm. He was making plays that nobody expected him to make. He even shocked me at times. There was times where he snapped the ball, and I was like, "Oh man, he's cooked." And all of a sudden, he's maneuvering the pocket and he's getting rid of the ball like a true NFL starter.
Well, there's two, like the Allen and the Caleb Williams stuff. Like, yeah, those are narratives, and that could have had a factor for sure. But it's also just he's a human being and he understands what's going on. He understands. Like, just think about it from a human level. All right, remove Caleb Williams, remove Dennis Allen. He's a 5th round, 2nd-year player. He knows if I play well and I get a contract, you're talking about like hundreds of millions of dollars, or even just $50 million. You know, like, or even just $10 million. Like, that's what's in the balance. And so for him, he knows I'm a 5th rounder. They drafted a 2nd round player who's sitting right behind me. If I don't start winning, if I make a mistake, all that's going to go through my hands. And all of a sudden, $10 million, a couple of years in the NFL, starting, all that's bye-bye. All that's bye-bye. And I could be out this league. Like, that's real. So I think the pressure of the whole situation probably played into it, where he started to feel the sand slip between his fingers. Certainly in Chicago. And then what happens in Tampa? You start off with a fumble. Exact same thing. And now you got to be thinking, I'm cooked. And then the pick 6 happens and everything else. And yeah, I mean, it's just those are like the real human things that people don't really think about, where, he's playing for his livelihood. He's not just playing, like, it's not just I hate Dennis Allen or I hate Caleb Williams. It's I want to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. This is my dream. And I have a chance. And I can also blow it. And then you feel the tide turning against you. And all of a sudden, it's too late.
With that said, I think getting to that Bears game, being in that situation, only having one win on your resume, I just think the pressure got to him. And he was on thin ice. He was pretty much fighting a losing battle. But I admire the kid, man. He did his hardest.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's why I'm at with him. I think if he went to a team like the 49ers, he'll probably do good over there. There's no telling what's going to happen with Mac Jones, who's playing like Mac Brady right now. And, maybe they may be interested in Rattler. I think that'll be a good system for him to thrive in. Robert Saleh had a lot of good things to say about the kid. As far as Shough getting his first start, I know we can't be too hard on him because it was the Rams. I think at some point, though, the criticism is going to be justified if we don't see him take a step. Me personally, Shough is our quarterback right now. He's a Saints player. It is what it is. I would love to see him have success. I would love to see him, become a Brett Favre in this league, but that's I mean, that's not likely, and I'm not really holding my breath. So, I mean, at this point, it's up in the air. We'll see. But I just think Kellen Moore needs a chance to get his guys in the building, and because some of these veterans, man, I think we can wash our hands with the Alvin Kamara's and the Mario Davises, like we could wash our hands with that era, man. I think that's over with. I think Kellen Moore needs a chance to get his guys in the building. We've been trying to hold on to this false hope for so long, and yeah, those candles are being blown out now. Like those candles have been blown out. There's no wishes to be made. That's just where we are. But um, what's your thoughts? Side note, I watched your in-game reaction, and man, I was laughing tears when you said the Saints flew to California for 16 minutes of possession. Man, I cried
Crazy.
tears on that.
Crazy.
But shout out to you, face of the
Thank you.
franchise. I love you, man. You the best.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for the support. Yeah, I mean, 100%. Like, it's just time to turn the page. And the guys who we relied on for a long time just aren't at the level to where the team can lean on them to kind of keep this thing going while the young guys get ready to roll. And it is what it is. And we're already seeing that, I know that was recorded before the trade deadline, but now we're seeing some shuffling, whether it was, Trevor Penning or Rashid Shaheed. It's just a sign that, all right, we got to move to the future. We got to build something. We got to figure out what that looks like. But it doesn't look like what it looks like now. It doesn't look like this current combination. The ingredients in the refrigerator are not what's going to make us the meal. So it's time to clear it out. And it's time to clear it out and make way for whatever's next. And hopefully that is quick. Like, hopefully this draft class continues to be good. Hopefully next draft class is good, and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's just, it reminds me, like, you can look at a lot of teams, like Miami. Miami's going through that same thing where it's time for them to turn the page, not only from Tua, but from Tyreek Hill and from Mike McDaniel and that whole system and era and that whole line of thinking with that team. It's just time to turn the page. Does that mean Mike McDaniel can't be successful somewhere? No. Does that mean Jalen Waddle's washed or Tua can't be successful somewhere? No. But it just means that current iteration, that current vision is just not working anymore. And a lot of different players and systems and coaches or whatever, they do run, they kind of run like their lifespan or whatever at a certain spot, and then it's time to move on. And sometimes it's like Kevin Stefanski for Cleveland right now. That's two-time coach of the year. That's a guy who took Cleveland from nothing to playoff berths to, taking teams to the limit. That he just won or just coached Joe Flacco to win comeback player of the year. Two-time coach of the year. And he just gave up play calling duties. Couple years removed from, hey man, that's the best coach in the NFL. Or if nothing else, he did the best job this year in the NFL as a coach. And all of a sudden now, he can't even call his own plays. So it just runs its course sometimes. And I think the veteran players and all that, they just kind of run their course, and it's time for the full-on rebuild. And the full-on, like, all right, okay, let's see who plays. Let's see how they do. Let's see what works, and what doesn't work, we'll just address in the draft and free agency. All right, man. Thank you for the support. Zach, you're up next. In a helicopter.
James, big fan.
Thanks, man.
So I want to start with the Saints.
Go ahead. The floor is yours.
For a while, but I don't think I was watching you when we had the move to Derek Carr. Do you believe we should have just? That's when we should have started the rebuild. When Drew left. When he left that building, we should have just rebuilt. I mean, you could even say when Sean left, I think we should have started the process that we're doing right now. We should have started this so much longer ago. We'd be a good team by now. I fully believe that. We'd be an actual decent team. And we'd be building. I mean, we're just dysfunctional at the top. I don't think Mickey's as bad as people say, but he just made some crucial mistakes that have really just dug us in this hole. And I just want to know your true opinion on Mickey Loomis. And your true opinion on Gale Benson. I feel like you don't talk about it much because you want to be positive. I know you're very positive. Every season I watch you and I get all hyped up and we just get let down. And I love the Saints. I feel like it's a part of our lives.
Sometimes in life you get got. In the last couple of years we've got.
But it's just year after year. I feel like we could be running this franchise better. Honestly, it's really
I definitely
see how we've turned out. after Drew Brees. But yeah, I got so many questions about the Saints, but I'll keep it at that. For the Pelicans,
All right, let's talk about the Saints. Okay, so let me start with the rebuilding thing. The biggest mistake, and I've done this before, but the biggest mistake was believing that Pete Carmichael could continue the offensive system or planning or strategy or whatever that Sean Payton did. If you think about it, within 2 years, the team lost Drew Brees and Sean Payton. Okay, greatest quarterback in team history, greatest coach in team history, arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, arguably the best offensive mind in the NFL. How did they replace that? They put all of that, they put that entire gaping hole, and they tried to say, you know what? All good, because we got Pete Carmichael. So Pete Carmichael is supposed to now replace Drew Brees and be the brain of Sean Payton. That's a lot of pressure on a guy. And Carmichael failed spectacularly. Didn't want the job, didn't want to keep the job, couldn't do the job. Well, that's problematic, okay? Because you got a defensive-minded head coach. He certainly can't do it, right? He doesn't know what the hell's going on. So all of a sudden now, you've got Pete Carmichael who doesn't know what's going on. You got Dennis Allen who doesn't know offensively what's going on, trying to replicate Sean Payton and Drew Brees. And then you start seeing what? What's the first draft class? Trevor Penning, right? Trevor Penning is one of the picks. How much of that is Pistol Pete and Dennis trying to figure out, okay, what prospects do we need on the offensive line? What do you think? What would Sean do? And it just didn't work. That was the first issue. Okay, that was the real setback. I don't blame them for elevating Dennis Allen. At that time, he's probably the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. He's been really good with the Saints. The Saints' defense was insane, if you remember. So I don't blame them for trying to retain him. The problem was Carmichael. If they would have brought in a young offensive coordinator, let's just pretend and say it was like Ben Johnson. Like you bring in Ben Johnson and he's your OC. The Saints are probably fine. And they probably don't miss a beat because the offense would be taken care of. They could kind of keep things afloat. Allen was fine defensively. You still had the core group of players, whatever. So then, even with all that, okay, they win 7 games. So then Mickey decides, well, we won 7 games, and the quarterback play has been just in flux because of the injuries to Winston, twice Dalton's in there. Like, so then the thought is, well, if we get a quarterback, then maybe we can win. 7 wins isn't that bad, right? And so what happens? Dennis Allen, head man in charge, fighting for his job. Who's he go to? The guy he drafted. Gets Derek Carr. And the funny thing is, it almost worked. Derek Carr, that first year, 9-8. Tied for the division. Lost the division on a tiebreaker. He gets hurt in Green Bay. They blow an 18-point lead. If they win that game, they're a 10-win NFC South champion hosting a playoff game. With Pete Carmichael. Okay? More than likely, if they win 10 games, win the NFC South, host a playoff game, Allen doesn't get fired, Carmichael doesn't get fired. Okay? So it's hard to say, hindsight 2020, that's when you should have done the rebuild. But even then, it's like, it probably didn't need a full rebuild. It probably just needed a different offensive mind. And that probably would have fixed a lot of stuff. Okay? Now, as far as Loomis, this is my belief. I think if someone shows you they can do something and it's time for them to do it again, you have to believe that they have the capacity to maybe do it. Okay? And what I mean is, like, this idea of a rebuild. Loomis has done this before. Now, you can say, well, that was Sean Payton. Well, see, Mickey gets a lot of the... It's funny how that works out, right? It's like, Mickey Loomis drafted Marcus Davenport, but Sean Payton drafted Alvin Kamara. Mickey Loomis drafted whoever, but Sean Payton drafted Michael Thomas. You know, it's like, it's very weird how that goes. But Mickey has done this before. Whether you think it's luck, whether you think whatever, he did go get Sean Payton. He did go get Drew Brees. And even just the Sean Payton thing. Like, him going and getting Sean Payton allows me to believe that he has some kind of capacity to go get a young offensive-minded head coach, right? a la Kellen Moore. Now, will this work out? Could that have been luck? Maybe. They did a rebuild before. They did, hey, look, the window is shut. We got to hit these drafts. All of a sudden, they hit a couple drafts, boom, window's right open. Again, was it Sean Payton? Was it Mickey Loomis? We don't know. But now we're in the same situation. If he did it again, if he did it before, I think you have to at least give him the opportunity to do it again. Now, if this goes awry and this messes up and this is a disaster, yeah, sure. You ask questions. What's going on? Maybe the league's passed him by. Maybe the game's passed him by. Absolutely. It happens. 100%. It happens. Okay? But that's what I think about Loomis. And he's done good and he's made good decisions and bad decisions. Okay? This whole thing, like, it really isn't that long of an amount of time. Okay? And, like, it was only 2 years ago with the Derek Carr, Pete Carmichael thing. So even when that didn't work, and that's in-house, so that's a little different than going outside and hiring somebody, bringing in a new regime, whatever. That's in-house. He's just trying to continue with what the Saints had. I almost just choked to death. It only took him 2 seasons to get Carmichael out of there and Allen out of there. All right? Then he brings in Kubiak. That was a win. Kubiak is arguably the best offensive coordinator in the NFL right now. So he gets one chance to hire from the outside, Sean Payton. The second chance to hire from the outside, Clint Kubiak. All right, pretty good so far. Third chance to hire from the outside, Kellen Moore. We'll see how it goes, but, you know. So he gets Kubiak. That's sweet. That's all cool. But then all hell breaks loose with Dennis Allen, whatever. Okay? You see what I'm saying? Where it's like, it seems like a long time, but it's only been 2 seasons, not even full seasons, from Pete Carmichael. It seems like it's been forever. But going from Carmichael to Kubiak, that's pretty solid hiring, if you ask me. Now, as far as Gail Benson, I think ownership in sports is like one of the most overrated things possible. If I ask you who the owner of like some of the best teams in sports are, you probably just don't know. Like, you probably have no clue who they are. And that's how I think it probably should be. The owner should just give the team resources. It should just give the team, you know, infrastructure and be willing to spend on the team or be willing to spend on the building or the training staff or the food or whatever. But owners shouldn't be like breaking down, you know, ACC game tape and emailing who they want drafted. Like, usually those examples are usually the worst teams, where the owner is meddling with the front office or meddling with the decision makers. I think the owner should be the resource, the money or the whatever, the liaison basically between the NFL and the team, but then delegate the actual responsibilities to those whose job it is to make the decisions. I don't want the owner involved in the offensive game plan. I don't want the owner making draft decisions. I want them to just delegate that out. Hire the people, and then let the people who you hired hire those people, and then let that go. You know, so I mean, just off the top of your head, who are the best teams in the NFL right now? Who do you think they are? Like, just think. You can answer on your own. And then, do you know who the owner is? And then, if you do know who the owner is, how involved are they? What are they actually doing? What do they do on a daily basis? And then, if you don't know who they are, which owners do you know? Which owners do you know? And more than likely, those teams aren't very good. Why? Because you know the owner, and the owner's meddling in the affairs. So I don't think it really matters that Gail is the owner. I don't think she has really a lot to do with the on the field operations. I mean, if anything, Gail did step in and fire Dennis Allen, which shouts to her. Whatever. Now, if a ownership group is not giving the team resources, refuses to pay for stadium improvements, refuses to stuff like that, like if the locker room doesn't have heat, things like that, like we see that in sports, then yeah, that's a problem for sure. If the ownership is refusing to pay players or extend their good players or whatever, that's a problem, sure. But for what we're talking about, like getting first downs, I don't think the ownership bears much responsibility at all there.
Do you think? I don't think we have another chance for a rebuild. I think we will relocate. I don't think it'll stay in New Orleans, especially with the stadium. Gail, I see her selling the team soon, or she doesn't even have a predecessor after this. I would love for it to be the Canes guy, but I really don't see a future with the Pelicans after Zion's departure. But yeah, big fan. Keep grinding, bro. You're doing a great job.
Thank you, man.
Once we're back, it'll be so nice. I cannot wait for the Saints to be back because it'll be beautiful.
Same.
Thank you, bro.
Pels are in trouble, for sure. The stadium is a big issue. They either have to do a full renovation. I mean, that's a problem, for sure. And you also have the questions about, is the market big enough to support both teams? I don't know if it is. The Pels have issues, and their issues are like the opposite of the Saints. Their issues are all off the court. Well, I mean, it's on the court too, but most of their issues are off the court. And the NFL or the NBA has said they don't want to relocate. They want to expand. They don't want to move teams. They want to like create new teams. But the Pels, it seems like they're kind of forcing their hand, honestly. So if I was a betting man right now, I would say the Pels probably do relocate. But, you know, we'll see. Right, as far as like right now with this whole Zion thing, Dumars has to trade Zion. He's hurt again as of filming. Zion, not Dumars, but yeah, the Pels are in dire straits, man. They really are. Like, I would say it's a high chance that team relocates. All right, next up, Dwayne the Diehard.
What it do, James?
What's up, man?
AKA the James Skrmetta, AKA
the one,
the face of the franchise,
the
AKA
superstar,
the only place I go for my next day or same day Saints analysis.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Keep it real.
I hear you. Yeah.
Real unbiased, right? That's
the best in the world. Fair and balanced.
That's why we love the channel.
Yeah.
Y'all make sure y'all go and subscribe if y'all aren't already.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
come on.
So, James, just wanted to let these people know and kind of just make them aware. I left a comment on one of your other videos that you just released. I think Saints fans fail to realize and football fans fail to realize what Kellen Moore is essentially being asked to do, right?
Yeah.
Y'all are asking him to play freaking chess with checker type pieces, right, of a team. And if y'all thought that he was supposed to make this rinky-dink roster a Super Bowl contender overnight or this season, I think you're absolutely delusional. We're not Cowboy fans here, right? We're Saints fans. We're realists, right? We're supposed to be realists. And I think they really need to reevaluate what they are as far as, being a fan, right? I get it. We want our team to win. I want my team to win. I've been a fan since before the Super Bowl era. So it's just being a realist, right? We don't have the roster to be contenders, right? It doesn't matter what head coach. You could have Vince Lombardi coaching the New Orleans Saints. He can get up from the grave right now, resurrect from the dead, and coach the New Orleans Saints, and you still wouldn't be able to get the results that you want to see.
Yeah, true.
Because we just don't have the pieces right now.
Yeah, the team's not good. The roster's not good. Yeah, 100%.
Hence, rebuild, right? You can't build a house overnight, right? So why do y'all think that y'all can build a Super Bowl contending team with just one piece, right?
I mean, that's exactly great comparison. It's like you're building a house from scratch. Like, building a house. You're not buying one, you're building one. And the studs get put up, the floor, the concrete's there, the studs are up, whatever. And it's like you walk in the living room, you're like, this looks like shit. I'm firing this contractor. It's like, well, hold on a second, I'm not done yet. I've only been in here for a couple months. We just got the studs up. We don't even have the walls up. Well, the electricity doesn't work. Well, yeah, we don't have any wires in here. What do you mean?
Quarterback situation hasn't been fixed. They say the running game is non-existent, but when you're averaging 14 touches between three backs, Taysom Hill, Alvin Kamara, and Devin Neal, if Kamara's only touching the ball 6 times a game, the run game isn't going to be non-existent, regardless if they're blocking or not, right? So, man, I just want you to keep keeping it real with these quote unquote Saints fans, letting them know that, hey, a rebuild takes time. Just like it takes time to build a house, it takes time to build a Super Bowl contending or a
Couldn't
playoff
agree more.
contention, or let's go even lower than that. A division winning type team, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Just tell me how you feel about where the direction of the team is headed. I feel good about, where our coaching situation is. I'd rather have Kellen than Dennis. So, I
Whew.
mean, hey, it is what it is. And I'm in it for the long haul, man.
Dwayne, you just lit it up. You might need to start a YouTube channel, Dwayne. That was fantastic. That was really good stuff. I agree 100%. I mean, and guys, like, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying this is definitely for sure, no doubt about it, going to work. What I'm saying is we have to wait to see if it's going to work. We have to wait to see what the problems are. Again, you got to wait till the house is built to figure out what you don't like about the house. You can't sit there and say, like, I don't like the color of these walls when the walls aren't even up, right? So, yeah, it sucks right now. It's not fun to watch, no doubt. You go sleep in a bedroom without walls and without a floor that's just, drywall and concrete. It's not going to be fun. But you got to wait. All right, Anonymous.
James, what's going on, man? Appreciate the content. I'm going to make
Thank
this
you.
question pretty quick.
Well, go
pretty
ahead.
Short.
Yeah.
Do you think that we were blind to our own bias during the offseason when everyone was telling us that, the Saints were the worst team in football and they had this terrible, pathetic roster and they had this going on and that going on, but, Carolina's taken steps forward and we were kind of scratching our heads like, man, what are they seeing that we're not seeing? The media doesn't even know what they're talking about. The Saints are better than what we think. And then the Saints turn out to be worse, significantly worse than what we think, and more aligned with what the media had to say about it. Now, obviously, even a blind pigeon finds corn sometimes, but is there a chance that our own bias blinded us from the reality that was this terrible New Orleans Saints situation?
Great question. Sometimes you're so right you're wrong. Sometimes you're wrong, but you're still right. And this was one of those situations where what was the sentiment this whole offseason? The Saints will be the worst team in the NFL because of the quarterback room. That was wrong. That is not playing into why the Saints are the worst team in the NFL or one of the worst teams. That's not factored in whatsoever, which is kind of crazy, right? Arguably, the quarterback position has been one of the most stable positions in the for the Saints. So that sentiment all offseason was 100% wrong. The idea that Shough and / or Rattler were so bad that it didn't matter, the Saints were the worst team. That was wrong. What no one got was that the established players on the team would fall off as bad as they fell off and would kind of propel the Saints into being the worst team in the NFL. That was the miss. When I look back at my offseason, how I saw the team, my big miss was believing that the returning players of Alvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Eric McCoy, whoever, so on and so forth, those returning players would make such an impact that the team can't be that bad because those players are good. Well, those players have not been good. And their return hasn't really done much of anything. Like the difference between Alvin Kamara and Jordan Mims or Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year really hasn't been that big of a difference. The difference between Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed really hasn't been that big of a difference between MVS and Cedric Wilson and Stone Cold Kevin Austin and Bub Means and Mason Tipton and whoever the hell else. Right? Like that's been the problem. The Eric McCoy return, short-lived, really hasn't made a difference, right? He got hurt again, and now we're back to Luke Fortner. So that was the issue. The issue was like completely flipped. We were spot on that Tyler Shough and / or Spencer Rattler wouldn't be that bad to where they would drag the entire team down. But we were wrong so far that the returning starters would make an enormous impact. So depends on how you look at it. It's similar to the year before where people were like, the Saints are going to suck. And then the Saints were incredible. And then they all got hurt. And then they sucked. And then people were like, see, I told you the Saints were going to suck. It's like, well, wait a minute. They were sweet. They only sucked because everyone got hurt. So it's like, who's right, who's wrong, whatever. But that's how I look at it. All right, last call. Anonymous so nice he had to do it twice.
Yo, what up, James?
Totally
First,
different
I just wanna
anonymous.
start
Never
by
mind. Completely different anonymous.
saying I appreciate all the content and the hard
Yeah,
work
man.
that you put out.
Oh, yeah.
Every day feels like they definitely help me get through my long work days because I'm
There you
always
go.
sitting there constantly just listening to your takes and your breakdowns. And
Yeah.
I just want to just salute you on a good job that you do with that.
I
But
appreciate it.
um,
I do it for the list. I mean, listen, guys, it was not that long ago. I was doing this for about 8 people listening. So y'all motivate me to put out the content. You know, we have done a minimum of 2 videos a day every day for probably close to like 2 years now, maybe even over 2 years. But I ain't slowing down because I got all of y'all. So y'all motivate me to keep this going. So I should be the one thanking y'all.
my question is, let's fast forward a little bit. Let's say
Okay. Yeah.
the Saints get the first pick in the draft, right? Which is probably going to happen.
Certainly possible.
And let's say we don't want a quarterback. We're going to trade back so we
Okay.
can get assets. So we
Yeah.
end up trading back, and I don't see us going no further than 4 or 5 if we do trade back, right?
Yeah.
So we trade back.
Yeah, it takes too much. Yes, because it takes too much to trade from 1 to like 11. Because the team at 11 has to trade way too much to move up that much. Usually, if you're trading out from 1, you're trading to like 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, somewhere in there where one of those teams desperately wants to move up a couple of spots to get whoever. But yeah, you don't trade from 1 to like 13.
And now we have the 4th or 5th pick.
Yeah.
What position are you taking at 4 or 5 first? And not quarterback. Is it tight end? Is it edge rusher? Is it cornerback? Is it linebacker? What do you feel like is the best need that the Saints need right now to make the first start for someone that's going to be a difference maker to help us rebuild and get in the right track going forward? Because right now it seems like getting a quarterback is not really ideal because we're still trying to figure out what we're doing with Tyler Shough. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to do with Rattler, who's going to be on the market in the offseason. So I just don't really see us taking a quarterback in this draft being realistic. But if you had to decide at pick 4 or 5, what is the most important position that you feel like will be the difference maker for the Saints going forward to help jumpstart the rebuild?
Depends on who's there, man. I mean, honestly, it does, because when you're at 4 or 5, some positions are eliminated, like guard, center, safety. Like those positions are probably out because you're at such a high impact spot that you got to have a real dominant player there. Even tight end. Like think about how good like Brock Bowers was coming out of college, Tyler Warren coming out of college. They weren't top 5 picks because they're tight ends. You know, like you got to be really good to be in the top 5 and not be an edge rusher, a quarterback, a tackle. That's pretty much it. I mean, you have your occasional wide receiver jump up there, your super occasional running back jump up there, but you're kind of hard stuck to certain positions. All right. I would lean edge, but like, let's just pull up a draft board real quick. All right, so this is the first round, okay? So let's say we're the first overall pick. Now let's say let's just start the draft, okay? All right, now let's pretend we traded down to 5. Okay, so let's pretend the whoever is trading up to get a quarterback. So they take Fernando Mendoza, okay? The Titans don't need a quarterback. So let's say the Titans take let's say they take Caleb Downs, all right? Jets need a quarterback. Jets take Dante Moore. Dolphins need a quarterback. Dolphins take Ty Simpson, all right? So now you're at 5. Bain is on the board. He's an edge. Peter Woods and TJ Parker, both defensive line, both possible. Jordan Tyson, okay. Wide receiver, possible. Jeremiah Love, halfback, possible. Arvell Reese, linebacker, possible. How good does a linebacker have to be taken top 5? Also, you have Danny Stutzman, you have Pete Werner, you have DeMario Davis, you have Stallbird, okay? Jeremiah Love, certainly possible if he's that good at the time of drafting, Getting a running back, replacing Alvin Kamara, possible. All right. Tyson. How good is Tyson? Because you definitely need a wide receiver. Okay. But then you go down a little bit. All right. Cornerback. You don't take a cornerback that high. Tight end. Kenyon Sadiq he's not graded out high enough to be a top 5 guy. Then all of a sudden you start getting into the second options. Right. Keldrick Falk. Okay. Well, he's like your third edge on the board behind Ruben Bain and TJ Parker. Mansour Delaney. Again, cornerback. Right. So you're kind of stuck here. Whereas if you're like at 15, you can take any position then. You can take cornerback, you can take offensive line, you can take wide receiver, you can take whatever you want. In this situation, I would take Ruben Bain because he's playing a super high impact position, edge, a position of need for you, which is edge. Now, arguably, like, we'll see how it plays out, but you could argue that actually interior defensive line is more of an issue than edge, because if you're happy with like Carl Granderson and Chase Young, it's like, well, really you don't need edge. Really what you need is like a run-stopping interior defensive tackle. That's really what you need. You need like, a guy to plug the middle. So maybe it's Peter Woods. But just on this board right here, I think you have to look at strict best player available, which would be Bain, but it would create kind of a logjam. Peter Woods would be the best like need fit defensively. Tyson and Love is who I would look at. Drafting a running back top 5 is controversial yet brave, but if he is Ashton Genty-esque and he's that good, and I'm not like, another thing, guys, like we have so much college football to be played. Jordan Tyson could be Carnell Tate. Like Jeremiah Love could be whoever. Like just pretend like this is halfback 1, wide receiver 1, defensive tackle 1, edge 1. Then don't get lost in the name because there's no way to know, right now who it's going to be. Just like Fernando Mendoza could be Ty Simpson, whatever, right? So if Ashton Genty-esque running back is there, maybe you do. Maybe that's who you go with. If Jamar Chase-esque wide receiver is there, probably go them. So that's the easy way to look at it too. Like put known assets in there. Pretend this is Jalen Carter. Pretend this is Abdul Carter. Pretend this is Jamar Chase. Pretend this is Ashton Genty. Okay, what do you do now? It's like, well, in that situation, you probably take Jalen Carter. And then you would take Jamar Chase. Right? So that's probably how I would rank it right now. But there's a lot of time. There's a lot of college football to be played. So we got to see who moves around and who goes where. But yeah, I mean, you can't, or even you could take a tackle because you could say, well, we're going to move Fuaga to guard, or we're going to move some stuff around, whatever. And maybe you take Hayden Proctor. Like maybe that's the situation. Maybe not at 5, but So convoluted answer because right now it's so up in the air, but I would lean Jalen Carter or Jamar Chase. That's what you're trying to find. You got to have someone to plug the middle of the defensive line. You got to have that, especially in Brandon Staley's defense. I'm assuming we're retaining him. And then Rashid Shaheed's gone, so got to have a wide receiver. And preferably a wide receiver who can step up and be the guy while Chris Olave is kind of playing off of him. So is that Jordan Tyson? Maybe. Is it another one of these wide receivers? Maybe. And then with Alvin Kamara slowing down, Kendra Miller hurt, and Kellen Moore who wants to run the football, if you can get the next, but then again, like maybe, like let's look at running back. If you can get your Quinshon Judkins in the 3rd round, well, you just do that, right? Then you target them and try and get them. That would be sweet. Why take Ashton Genty 6th overall when you take Quinshon Judkins in the 3rd? So, and you got wide receivers. The wide receivers right now are like, hold on here. It's like Tyson, Lemon, Tate, Boston. Yeah, so, you never know who you can get late, whatever, all that stuff. Antonio Williams, he was a top 10 pick not too long ago, and now he's the 91st pick. It's amazing how fast all that happens. Tight end, yeah, not a lot at the top. Same thing with the tight ends, though. Why draft whoever when you can get Harold Fannin in the 5th round or whatever he was drafted in? So a lot of questions, but it'll be fun, man. Draft season is going to be sweet. If we have the 1st overall pick, that'll be insane. I would much rather have like the 5th overall pick in this draft, because if you have the 1st overall pick, it becomes even more of, hey, you only really have like 3 players you can draft. And then you have the pressure of taking the quarterback. And I don't want to force a quarterback. I don't want to force taking whoever. I don't want to force taking Ty Simpson. So. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the questions. We are caught up on speakpipe.com. Thank you, everybody, for submitting your questions. I really do appreciate it. Awesome. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.